Hey, welcome back to Colton Screencasts. I'm your host, Mr. Dollins. In part one of this series on SpringBoard Digital, we appreciated the hot new look of the website after its recent pandemic summer makeover. We also learned how to ensure our students have access to their digital textbooks. After all, why else do we have this service if not to make the content more accessible, right? Now that the kids have access, the most crucial part of their experience will be learning how to use the ebook. If you remember version 1.0 of the site, the ebook experience was pretty clunky. I can't tell you that the new experience is significantly better, but there have been some improvements worthy of note. Time to rebuild our understanding and examine our process using this ebook before breaking it down for an audience of attention-challenged teens, just like we do with every skill we introduce. So what are we waiting for? Let's get started. SpringBoard's ebook is an interactive version of their physical edition. It features all the same information you enjoy in your teacher's editions. It has the planning pages and pacing suggestions we can snicker at, a teacher wrap to offer extra information and scaffolding ideas, standards correlations, and of course access to all the texts and activities. But the best part of the ebook is that it functions the same way for both teacher and student. So you can be sure once you get a grip on how to operate the interface, you'll be able to better support your kids. After logging into SpringBoard, you'll be transported to the landing page. Once you're there, make sure you select the class with which you want to work from the class pull-down, followed by the textbook you want to review on your textbook pull-down. Then click eBook, and you're in. Navigating the ebook all begins with the vertical menu on the left side of the screen. You have 5 options here. This is the table of contents link. Clicking on this will push out the book at a glance. If you're working with your physical edition at the same time you're online and know the page number on which you want to apply SpringBoard's digital magic, you can type in the page number in this search bar. Otherwise, you can move through the book by clicking the previous and next arrows to go between units, then scroll down the contents bar to find the activities you want to see up close. The next item on the menu is the teacher wrap. This is the same teacher wrap you will find in the physical teacher's edition text. One of the new features here is the ability to edit the teacher wrap to add your own ideas. It's the digital way of placing sticky notes or writing in the margins. You just need to click Edit On to activate the feature. You'll see editing features appear like editing and adding a new section. These appear above every section on the wrap. Our next item is the correlations feature. This shows you the common core standards and how they relate to the content in each activity, hence the Venn diagram. This magnifying glass is your standard issue search bar. Looking for a particular author? Type her name. Want to find a particular recursive concept? Put it here. You know the drill. Lastly is your class copy. This is where you go to look at student responses to assigned work. For the sake of time, we'll be covering this feature in depth in part 4, so show a little patience. We'll get there, I promise. Think of it as Bluebeard's closet. With a better sense of where things are, let's switch gears and look at how we can interact with the text itself. From the table of contents, I want to now select an activity with which to prepare for my students. It's still early in the year, or is it? So I'm going to look at activity 1.3 here. You can see all the same sections and information we find in both the teacher and student editions are here. You've got your learning targets, vocabulary, setting a purpose, your texts, etc. What makes the digital version useful are the tools at your fingertips. One of the first things I see in this lesson is the literary terms students need to know: voice. If I want to annotate this for future reference, I simply need to highlight the text to bring up my annotations options. The new look SpringBoard's annotation pop-up is more compact and a little less clunky. It gives us the option of creating a sticky note, erasing stuff you no longer need, and an array of metacognitive markers. These are perhaps the most useful since every text in this book requires students to use them. There's also a definition feature and highlighting colors if you dig making your books look like a pastel rainbow. To demonstrate, I'm going to highlight the word voice to remind myself to teach it explicitly. If I change my mind, I can select the word again and click on the eraser to put everything back to normal. When reading the text, I can select the text and add my metacognitive markers. So I'm looking for passages that define cultural identity. Right here in the first passage of this text, author Elise Trumbull says, "One of the most basic types of identity is ethnic identity." Looks like I found some textual evidence. Let me select the sentence, then underline it according to the directions. Pretty easy to use. The ebook also has audio recordings of the texts, which you can always find at the top of each text. Your students can too. I can't say that the quality of the readers has really improved, but it's always nice to have this option, especially during distance learning when you can't exactly read synchronously with your class in any manner that feels effective. Throughout the text, you will find bold words with purple underlines. These are marked vocabulary. You can click on them to open a pop-up that gives you both a definition and pronunciation audio in English and Spanish. Lastly, when you get to the second read section, you will find the answer key already on display. If you want to change this, you can always go up to the Preferences wheel at the top of the page and turn this feature off. You can also adjust other features like annotating, your correlations access, and whether you want the book projector ready. As with the student ebook, you have the ability to add responses to textbook questions and activities. You have 3 options. You can add text immediately, put in a link to a response, or add an attachment. So if you have notes for this activity, or perhaps you've created a hyperdoc to go along with answering this particular question, you could put a Google Doc link here, or add the document if you used a different format like Word or a PDF. When you type into the text field, always make sure to save. Now, this is where the bugs of the platform are not necessarily fixed yet. When preparing for this video from the student's perspective, I found that sometimes it didn't appear that my response was saving. I couldn't see it afterwards, but when I went into the class copy as the teacher to look at the student work I had created, I was able to see every submission I had saved as a student. So be prepared for the inevitable student emails about how SpringBoard didn't save my work, but I did it and it was masterful. I suspect SpringBoard will fix this issue. As long as we're aware of it, it's easier to work around. So that's how to use SpringBoard's ebook. It is a pretty straightforward platform for textbook interaction that provides some really useful features to encourage student annotation and response. It also provides us teachers with some tools for keeping track of our planning. And with that, part 2 is over. What an adventure. Now you're ready for part 3, in which we'll take a look at the supplementals, such as the teacher resources and assessments. I guess it'll sort of be a supplemental screencast? As always, I want to thank you for watching these videos. I hope you enjoy them as much as I enjoy making them. If you are so inclined, click that subscribe button, maybe drop an encouraging word in the comments section, or make a suggestion for any future screencasts. There are so many topics out there still in need of exploration. So, see you next time on Colton Screencasts.